And that way you don't have to worry about trying to get every word that everyone says this evening. You can just kind of sit back and listen and look at the slides and know that I will post this on our orientation website and you can revisit it. And if there are things that stick out to you, you know, oh, I want to make sure I get that link or make sure it will be there for you. But this gives you the opportunity to just listen, let the information wash over you. And if you have any kinds of questions, if you want to drop them in the chat as we're going along, that will be fantastic. So welcome. This is our orientation for those of you who are beginning a program in spring 2024. Tonight we are mostly talking about our fully online programs. So if you have signed up and you're going to be in a residential program at Biltmore Park or a residential program at Cullowhee, still there'll be lots of information tonight that will be helpful, but it may not be as tailored to you and your needs. We won't be talking about parking and stuff like that. So still stay on. We're happy to have you, but know that when you go to the orientation page, you may want to listen to the recording that corresponds with when you are taking classes. So I'm going to jump in and get started. The first thing I want to show you and just reiterate, and hopefully you'll get this message over and over again starting with our event tonight that's really meant to welcome you, to introduce you to a lot of the resources that are available to you as students of Western. Often people can feel like, oh, well, I'm an online student, so it doesn't apply to me. And most of those things are not true at all. Most of them do apply to you. And so we want to make sure you know of the resources and you know how to avail yourself of those resources. If you ever have any questions at all, here are the numbers and the contact for the graduate school. So if you want to jot those down, or again, as I said, when you revisit, you can get those, but you've probably seen a lot of them already. We would also love for you to like us on social media. If you are a social media person, we have a new social media person on board and she's putting out some fantastic content. So I want to give her a plug, but also let you know that that's another great place to go and feel involved with our community. Before I get too much further, I want to bring you introductions from a couple of people who are on the call tonight. First, I'd like to introduce you to the Dean of the Graduate School, Dr. Jeff Lawson, who would like to take a few minutes to say hello. Jeff?
Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm Jeff. I'm the Dean of Graduate School and Research. Let me keep what I have to say really short, and I just want to talk to you a little bit about supports and about connections and about community. And Joy prefaced it very well to remind you that as online students, you have a lot of supports that you may or may not be aware of. Don't be afraid to reach out. Am I coming in? One of the chats is having audio trouble. Okay. There's a lot of supports that you have access to, everything from resources on billing to resources on writing to library resources, all at your fingertips. Let me say a little bit about connection. I think in online instruction, it is sometimes difficult to connect. And one of the things we pride ourselves on as Catamounts, well, one, we pride ourselves on such a cool nickname, but as Catamounts, we pride ourselves on being able to make connection. You will connect, depending on how your own online program is run, you will connect with your faculty and you will connect with the students in your program, but take advantage of that. And in that connection, do not be afraid to reach out. Do not hesitate to communicate, hey, want to work together? Hey, to the professor, I want to talk about this problem. You know, the worst thing we can do to each other is be frustrated, be stuck, or have a situation and just not communicate. We connect well across the graduate school, and that leads me to community. We try hard to build community with the online learners, and a couple ways that we can do it. We have graduate ambassadors, people who represent the graduate school and do things. Some of them are in online programs and can do this completely remotely. The ambassadors get together and they support the graduate school, and they help talk about their programs and recruit. We also have a active, revitalized graduate student association. And the Graduate Student Association is the governance of the graduate students, and they represent the graduate students in learning and in work environment. So that's an option for you to be involved. And we have representation on the GSA from our main campus Colowee students, from our Biltmore Park and Asheville students, and from our online students. So think about getting involved. This is exciting, whether you're coming from not being in school for a long time, or this is the continuation of something else you were working on. Welcome to Western. I hope you have an enjoyable and edifying experience. Thank you, and back over to Joy.
Thanks, Jeff. Next, we have a very special welcome from the MAPS office. Anita Puerto is here this evening, and she's going to talk to you a little bit about their office and the resources that they can offer. You're up, Anita.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm going to be really brief because it's really simple and a beautiful, beautiful, easy program to talk about. MAPS supports first generation college students, which at Western is looking at whether or not your parents or guardians earned a 4-year degree. We also support independent students, which includes anyone 24 years of age and older, anyone with their own dependents, anyone who's financially independent, anybody who's on their own in any other ways that I'm not really going to ask that many questions about. And we also support students from a low income background. And so if you're thinking, hey, that might be me, what do you mean by support? It looks however you need it to look. MAPS offers coaching that can be just check-ins, that can be you have a really specific question and you just don't know where else to put it. And it can also be, hey, I thought I was a fantastic writer, or I thought I was great at studying, or I thought I was good at talking to my professors. Turns out I could use some help with that, and we can figure that out with you. We can also connect you to resources in your community or on our campus as well. So if you're interested in connecting with MAPS at any point or having one of us check in with you, you just have to email us and tell us that you're interested in more information, and we'll go from there. We'll figure out what it is that's going to be helpful to you. I'll put our email in the chat. And if you have any questions, just give us a shout. We're here to help. Thank you all very much for having me.
Thanks, Anita. Thanks for being here this evening. So I'm going to jump into the rest of it. And again, hopefully tonight, if you're feeling a little bit nervous, a little bit anxious at starting back in school again, hopefully this will help to allay some of your worries. Really, tonight is about showing you people who are here to support you. And we want you to feel, as Jeff said, it is about community. And even if you are on the east, the eastern part of the state, or even out of state, we still think of you and welcome you as a Catamount, and we will hope that you will do the same. I'll talk tonight a little bit about different ways you can engage. It's definitely harder for fully online students. A lot of you are also parents. A lot of you are also employed full-time. A lot of you are also doing all of that and going to school. So it's going to look different for you. It looks different for each person, but we want to make sure that you feel included in our community, and we're going to do what we can to make that happen. I'm going to go over kind of some general daily survival, and then I'll be talking about some more resources here on campus. If you have not done this yet, this is kind of one thing to be doing as we are approaching the start of school on Tuesday, and that is make sure you have set up your Catamount email and that you are checking it regularly, like at least a couple of times a day regularly. All of our official communication comes to that email. You know, I have it here for you how to do that. But if you have not had a chance to do that yet, or you thought, I'll get around to that, this is probably, as we get off the call tonight, since we won't take up the full hour, you need to go ahead and do this, and you will find that you have mail. That is how the university communicates. It's also how your professors communicate with you. So please be sure to get that done before the start of school. Equally as important is your My WCU portal. It looks a little bit different for you. You can see that mine is geared towards me, and so I don't have all of the student features, but your tuition will be here, your account, any of your account summaries will be here. On that quick link side, a lot of the things that I'm going to be talking about this evening are there for you. Your email launches from there. If you look down underneath that circled email, you'll see the library. I'll talk a little bit about them tonight. But really, when you go into your quick links, it's kind of, it was a couple years before I realized, oh, I didn't realize this was here. So take a few minutes, on your time and just look at all those quick links and see where they put you. I think it might be getting cut off, but Canvas also launches from here. And Canvas is your kind of like your school building. And we'll talk a little bit about Canvas in just a minute. So the other thing, this is not required since you're fully online students, but I think kind of in keeping with that, engage with us, we want to be engaged with you. Consider getting a CAT card. You might be in Washington State, and still a CAT card is worthwhile. A lot of times, and you guys all know this, you go somewhere and it says, if you're a student, you get a 5% discount. You are a student. Here's your card that can show that. And this can all be done. You don't have to come up to campus. This can be all done through email, and you're just submitting kind of a DMV photo worthy picture of yourself, and they will make you a CAT card and send it to you. So again, it's not required, but it is helpful. And for those of you and there's a lot of you who are actually in the greater Western North Carolina area, should you find yourself on campus, your CAT card can get you into different places that you're able to access. So our learning management system, and I'm gonna, for some of you, this will be like, yeah, no kidding. But I don't want to assume that everybody's taken an online class before. I know when I went back to school, I had never taken a fully online class. And so I really didn't know what to expect. And so your classes will be taught through our learning management system, and people now just call that the LMS. And so it took me forever to figure out what's an LMS. Well, our LMS is Canvas. And so Canvas, I like to think of, it's kind of the online schoolhouse. So your schoolhouse has think of it with a big signage across of it that says Canvas, and you'll go in that building, and then you'll have a classroom or a tile, and I'll show you what that looks like. But it's kind of analogous to a brick and mortar building, and that's what I like to think of it. Here's some things about Canvas that can be frustrating. Sometimes faculty do not open the classroom door until the first day of a scheduled class. So, first day of classes is Tuesday. You're probably right now, as we're going into a long weekend, really kind of ready to get in there, take a look at it. see what that class looks like, and it may not be open yet. And that's kind of a bummer. But there are some um, shells in there that will help you to see, okay, here's how I work through Canvas. There will be some Canvas help. There will be like if you are a SPED graduate student, there's a SPED Student Center module that's already open and waiting for you. And I know that Dr. Cooper Duffy really is expecting that those of you in the SPED programs will do those ahead of time. Take those tutorials, read the FAQs, even if you've done like tons of stuff on Blackboard, it is a little bit different. And so you'll want to make sure that you know kind of how to navigate. And then the go-to, and this is how I learned a lot about Canvas, is to go to YouTube and Google it or YouTube it, and you will get lots of little 2 and 3 minute step-by-step videos that show you how classes are generally set up. And I found those, I'm a visual learner, I found those to be some of the most helpful tutorials that I got in getting ready for me, it was teaching for the first time on Canvas. So this is kind of what it looks like when you launch it from my WCU. You see here that there are 2 courses that are available to me right now. All of you should have this Priming the Canvas, an introduction to Canvas, take it. And then this would be like my class. See under here, and you won't be able to see unpublished courses, but you might have course tiles down here that haven't been published yet, and you can't see them. So over here is a nice navigation bar that you'll be able to use. But again, depending on, your comfort level with being in a fully online class as to how much time you want to devote to just figuring it out. I will do a plug for the calendar feature over here. Again, once your professor opens it up, but like all the due dates come up. And if you're taking a couple of courses at a time, one course might, like this course would be green and this course would be blue on its dates on the calendar. So I found that to be really helpful. You'll have due dates and tasks that scroll over here. So again, that's a little bit about what Canvas looks like. So if you're nervous because you've never taken an online class before and you're getting ready to embark on an entire fully online program, spend a little time there, and that will help to allay some of your worries. I will also let you know this is the website that I mentioned, and this video will have it up tomorrow morning for you. And so you can go there, and those register buttons will be replaced with watch the feed, and it will be this recording from our session tonight. So let's talk a little bit about academic development. This is one of the first kind of bummer slides, but I want to really make sure that you understand these policies because they're completely different from undergrad. And a lot of people assume, oh, I went to undergraduate at Western, it's going to be the same, and it is not the same. So first and foremost, we are here to help you. If something is not going right for you, we may not be able to solve it, but we can certainly get you connected to people who can help. So, you've got our contact information, so please feel like, oh, well, that's not really a grad school thing. Reach out. It's a grad school thing because you are a grad student. Big, huge thing. If you get an F in a class, you are automatically dismissed, expelled from the graduate school. There is no grade replacement. So you cannot take that well, I'll take it next semester and I'll do better and I'll get an A and then it'll average out. That doesn't exist. The F will always be there. So, really think about it. If things aren't going well and you need to withdraw, a lot of times when folks in online classes, things start going south for them, they stopped going and they just like, oh, well, just never mind, it wasn't for me. And they take an F, and a couple years down the road, like, okay, life is better for me now. That F is still there. So reach out, get help, don't take Fs. That's a really hard thing to overcome. The same thing happens with your third C. You will also be dismissed. Some graduate programs do have a more restrictive policy than, and they might put you out after 2 Cs. Know your program policies. Some of them have certain courses that you cannot get a C in. A lot of the nursing programs have like a clinical course or something, and you cannot get a C in that course. So know your program policies. Be sure to ask program directors because those are important. We also offer some transfer credit. So if you have had some graduate credit that was not part of a degree in the past, let your program director know or your advisor know, and that may be something that you can transfer if it fits with what you're doing now. There is a stop out policy. So oftentimes maybe you do a fall semester, a spring semester, and life gets a bit crazy for you and you need to take a semester off. That's fine. We have a 3-term stop out policy. So what that means is you could take a fall off and a spring off and then come back in summer, and you don't have to reapply to your program. If you sit out 3 consecutive terms with summer included, you will have to reapply. So again, if you're thinking about that, if something comes up, just reach out, press that help button down there, and we will be glad to talk you through your options and certainly get you connected. And so I'm going to pause for just a moment and see if we have any questions I don't see any questions in the chat. So how do you avoid those things from happening? We do have a lot of supports, and all of these supports are open to you as fully online students. You see the tutoring support that we have there. We have a fantastic writing and learning commons. I know Anita mentioned oh, you really thought your writing was just fine, and now within your specific discipline, like maybe you're trying to figure out APA because you're in education now, and maybe it's not going so well for you. The Writing and Learning Commons will absolutely tutor you, help you with those writing and other issues that you might be having. They will help, proofread with you, edit with you. So that's definitely, if it's been a while, if you're a little rusty on the academic writing, you may want to, before that first paper, find that deadline and set something up with the Writing and Learning Commons, also called the Walk, and make sure that you're good to go. We have fantastic computer and IT support, and I put the website or the email contact information, but if something's not working, like you're trying to load, you've maybe got videos that your professor has put and they're not running on your computer, maybe your JavaScript isn't quite right, they can do a remote session, they can help you out, they can let you know, oh, do you just need to update your system or what's going on? So again, don't suffer in silence, even though, you can be all alone in that room working through your tasks for the week. Please reach out. The library, everything that a residential student or someone who's in Biltmore Park has accessible to them, you also have accessible to you. You can see there's an entire web page just dedicated for distance students. Find that there are guides, there's a chat bot. They're very willing to make appointments to work with you individually. Again, those of you who have maybe taken some time off, or it's been a while since you've done any kind of scholarly research, do not pay for anything. I hear just horror stories of people who went to Google Scholar and then paid for all these articles to be sent to them that's included in your fees. So our library can get those articles for you. They can show you how to get them so that you don't have to pay through JSTOR or something like that. So important to know. We also offer professional development for you as graduate students. one of the things that we have is we're really trying to get back running strong is our Graduate Student Association. And I think Jeff talked a little bit about that earlier tonight. Should you find yourself interested in doing that, we have, so out of all the executive board, about half of them are in fully online programs. And Abby, our Vice President of Travel and Finance, is in our experiential and outdoor education program. So that's a hybrid program. So they're not on campus very often. So it will work if that's something that you have interest in. If you want to dip your toes in this, just to see, is this something I'm interested in? You can join without being an officer, but we will be looking for new officers for the fall session. We do a 3-minute thesis competition. Probably it will be too quickly for you this February, that's next month. But be thinking as you're working through your program, any kind of class projects. I know the word thesis is in there, and so it makes people think, oh, that's like the hard sciences, that's only their kind of research, but that's not true at all. We've had winners from English. We had a fantastic person from innovation and entrepreneurship present. So this is a wonderful opportunity to present in a 3-minute kind of elevator pitch type deal where you're talking about your profession to kind of the lay person. So it's a great prep for interviews. So be thinking of that. Maybe not this February, but we will do it again in the fall. Same thing with our professional conference that we have, that will be in March, mid-March. This year, I would suggest just kind of keeping your ear to the ground and seeing who participates. Look at the live streams, all of that, and then get ready for next spring to present. Finally, these are just some tips in thinking about taking online classes. And really, I would say that kind of as someone who has taught a lot online, that really it's connecting with classmates that's going to save you, and make it feel like you're not just out there in cyberspace floating around doing a lot of correspondence work. So find a study buddy, connect, join the virtual coffee circles, really, reach out to your professors. If they offer office hours, even if maybe you don't have a question, and there'll be virtual office hours, just stop by, say hey, ask them what kind of music they like, because those kinds of connections will really help you and help cement you and make you feel like part of the community. That is it for tonight. Again, I appreciate your being here. I'm going to see, I don't see that we've had anything come up in the chat. So that gives you about half an hour of a little bit of time that you thought you might be here, to maybe hop into your My WCU, to set your email up if you need to, check through Canvas, and have a great evening. And thank you for spending 30 minutes of, for me, what was the witching hour when I had little ones. Thank you for spending it with us. Good night, everyone.